See, Chelsea, if you don't want to see these bad games, you got to be an old man like me and Jenks and go to bed at 7:30.
Exactly.
Matt, I thought you were a music guy. You're not into Coachella?
Coachella's more of a fashion festival than it is a music festival, but that's neither here nor there. That's a whole different discussion.
But they do have like top line artists there,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, they definitely do.
Like
They have top line
Lamar.
artists. I mean, Kanye West just dropped out last week. He was supposed to headline
So he's
both
not
weekends. No, he's not there. The weekend took his place. But like Coachella, like if you go there, it's more about the fashion and the crowd than it is about like the music. Like nobody goes to those shows.
It sounds like the perfect Instagrammable event where you go and you show up. You know what I mean? That's what it sounds
exactly
like.
Exactly what it is.
Yeah, I get that.
I want to get there one day just for but like, I don't know. It's weird. California, man.
Now I'm imagining you in like a mesh bodysuit that's like lime green and like those skinny sunglasses. You got to at least rock that look at least once, right?
You can't tan in a full green suit. You need to get a tan if you're going out there. Come on now.
It's all about the tan for Matt.
That's right. All right, let's change it up a little bit. Let's get back on track to the NBA. Last night we had a little bit of a shock. The Mavericks beat the Jazz behind Jalen Brunson, who had a career-high 41 points. So, fact or fiction, Jenks, do you think that this series is the most likely to go to 7 games?
I actually do. Just because these two teams are – well, a lot of it depends on Luka. But ultimately, the Mavs, if you look at how they performed in Utah historically, they haven't won in Salt Lake City in forever. I forget how many games it's been, but it's a significant number of games since the last time they won at Salt Lake City. That's with Luka or without. So based on what we saw in the first 2 games, this is a pretty evenly matched series. And Chelsea, you were talking about the spreads earlier about how we're seeing at least 7. I think that line of the Pels-Suns game tonight is 9.5. This is the one series where you're actually getting shorter numbers. So just by virtue of that alone tells you that this is probably the most evenly matched series. So yeah, I'll say fact.
Of the series, most likely to go 7 games. Did you not catch the end of that Celtics-Nets game? Are you kidding me? It came down to the final second. I get that maybe the Mavs and the Jazz, they might go 7, but I think of the series on the table right now, it's got to be Celtics-Nets. These teams are 2 of the best teams in the Eastern Conference and the most evenly matched, I think, of the higher seeds and the lower seeds matching up together, because anytime you have Katie and Kyrie, your team has a fighting chance. And I think at some point, the Celtics aren't going to have that game-winning shot at the end. So for me, it's Celtics-Nets. That seems like the obvious answer, right?
Yeah, it does seem like the obvious answer, which is why I think it's probably going to be one that doesn't. I think that I've been saying Nets in 6 this whole time, so I'm hoping for 3 straight wins, and then Boston can get 1 back in Boston, and then we just dispose of them like we did last year. No big deal. So this is, I think, Mavs versus Jazz has a very good chance at being the one series that does go 7 games. I actually grabbed the Mavericks at plus 2.5 games in the series yesterday at plus money. Can't do that anymore, which is fantastic news for me. But yeah, I think that this has a real legit chance at going to full distance. But to a different series that doesn't have as much hope going as far, the Sixers just beating down on the Raptors, which, again, we probably could have foreseen, but still kind of surprising how badly they're just destroying them. And as you saw last night, the Raptors tried a new game plan with Joel Embiid, and they tried slapping him, kicking him, tripping him, pushing him, chop blocking him, anything you can think of they were trying to do. And it didn't really work out well for them. So, fact or fiction, Chelsea, is physicality the best way to guard Joel Embiid?
No, fiction. Did you see the result of that game? It didn't go well for the Raptors. Anytime you let the Sixers get to the free throw line, it is not going to end well for you. We saw this during the regular season. Joel Embiid and James Harden are 2 of the game's best at drawing fouls and making their free throws. What did Joel go from the free throw line? 12 or 14? Something crazy like that? So yeah, you can do hack-a-shack all you want, but he is just going to beat you at the free throw line. And guess what? Joel Embiid and James Harden combined to shoot 22 free throws, or I think make 22 free throws. That was more than the entire team of the Raptors. This is not how you beat them. Plus, Joel Embiid is 50 pounds heavier than anybody else on the court. Maybe you think mentally he's soft and maybe you can frustrate him, But no, not when your team's ahead. Not when Joel Embiid's team is leading easily. So no, this is not the best plan of attack. And we saw it last night. So maybe try something different, Nick Nurse.
Yeah, the only way to stop Joel Embiid is to stab him, give him a little shiv right before the game. Yeah, so that no one is looking. I mean, ultimately, he cannot be stopped. The Raptors do not have an answer for him. And Nick Nurse, I love Nick Nurse. I think he's one of the best head coaches in the NBA. And what you're seeing right now is a coach that is dealing with the lineup that is not healthy. The way to beat the Sixers is for the Raptors to be healthy, and they're just not. They just don't have their full complement of players. They tried putting in Gary Trent Jr. last night. He was completely ineffective. Scotty Barnes didn't play. So whenever you have a Raptors team that already was at a bit of a disadvantage mismatch-wise, then you make them even weaker, and they don't stand a chance. So Nick Nurse is doing everything under his power. He's going to try a regular game. Now he's going to try and be physical with Joel Embiid. But last night, as you said, just proves that's not the way to do it. Sending Joel Embiid to the line, making him angry, pissing him off is not the way to beat this team. Now, going across the border, and you've got Matisse Thybulle, the best defender on the Sixers lineup, who cannot go to Canada because he's not vaccinated yet, and Canada has different rules. That is a good way to beat the Sixers because your best defender is out and maybe you get healthier. But right now, things just don't look good for the Raptors. I think Nick Nurse is throwing the kitchen sink, trying to make something happen. But ultimately, yeah, this is fiction. There's just no way to stop Embiid just by pushing him around. He's too big.
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm actually going to say fact here to a degree, because if you get physical enough with somebody like Joel Embiid who has a injury history, maybe he does get a little bit worn down. But that being said, the Raptors and someone with the size of Pascal Siakam,
Right.
not gonna cut it. You're gonna need
You don't
somebody
have
more
the
like
pieces to do that. Like
exactly.
Pascal Siakam's a rail. Like you're not going to out physical somebody with Pascal Siakam. We talked about this before the show.
Yep.
Don't the Raptors not even have a true center?
Yeah, I mean, true centers are hard to find anyway in the NBA, but like you can't guard Joel Embiid with a 6'9" guy. It's just not gonna work.
Right.
Unless you're Zion Williamson, and even then, like, good luck.
And Pascal Siakam
Yeah.
is built like a grasshopper anyway. He's long and he's almost like a spider. I mean, he's all over the place. He's so unique in the way he plays, but he doesn't have that big body that Joel Embiid has.
Yeah,
He
exactly.
needs
Like
to
the
eat a
Raptors
few
are long.
Mexican pizzas.
Yeah. So they're a long team. They're not a big team. They might need to get to the gym and eat some extra burgers or something like that in order to stand any sort of chance against Joel Embiid. But onto the other series that also hasn't been that good, the Nuggets and the Warriors. Warriors laying another beatdown on the Nuggets last night. Steph Curry has been injured, playing minimal minutes, so Jordan Poole has been kind of taking the reins in his absence. So, fact or fiction, Jenks, do you think Jordan Poole will be a household name by the end of the playoffs?
I'm going to say fact. He's been unbelievable. I know we only have a 2-game sample size, but in those 2 games, he's dropped 59 points and 11 assists. He's gone 11 of 17 from 3. We know how dangerous the Warriors are from 3 with Steph and Clay, and Jordan Poole can create his own shot. So it's one thing if you've just got a bunch of guys on the perimeter, but Jordan Poole can force you to collapse, and then all of a sudden he kicks it out, and you've got Steph and Clay sitting outside. Jordan Poole is a guy who was basically in the conversation for sure as being the most improved player in the NBA. He is electric. He's only getting better, and now he's got that confidence going. He was lights out last night along with Steph, so I say fact.
I'm saying fact too. If Bobby Portis can become a household name after the NBA Finals, but that's the thing when we're talking about household name. If you're in the NBA Finals, if you're in the later stages of the playoffs, even the role players are going to become household names. And Jordan Poole has been more than a role player. In fact, he has been one of, I'm not going to say they're big 3, but he's been a key factor for the Warriors, especially in the absence of Steph Curry or when, he's just getting ramped back up. So he is a viable scoring threat, and he certainly is going to become a household name because I expect the Warriors to go at least pretty deep in these NBA playoffs, at least making it to the Western Conference Finals. I do think it's probably the Suns that win that. But yeah, household name. Yeah, if Bobby Portis can do it, so can Jordan Poole.
Yeah, I mean, you also have Nick Young, who became a household name. Like, who's to say that Jordan Poole can't become a household name? I mean,
Well, he also dated Iggy Azalea too, right?
yeah,
That
and he
helped.
also had that famous meme of him shooting and then turning around, bragging about it, and then just missing. Uh, but yeah, I mean, when you have a team like the Warriors with a player like Steph being injured, you have this whole generation of fans who are Warriors fans, and they're all watching Steph and the Warriors. But when there's no Steph and there's no Clay, and you have Jordan Poole there dropping 38 points a night, these Warriors fans, whatever you want to say they are,
12-year-olds.
yeah, will eventually learn who Jordan Poole is. So, like, I'm gonna have to say this is also a fact. Yes.
I'll give credit to the Warriors, though, because didn't they draft Jordan Poole 3 years ago, like 28th overall? So it's not like they had some sort of top 10 picks. You have to give them full credit for drafting a guy like this out of Michigan, who was projected to be good, but nobody expected him to be this good. And now it looks like they're going to have a potential superstar for the next decade or so. What an embarrassment of riches for the Warriors.
Well, here's the thing. This is the silver lining in their superstars being hurt for most of the year. When you don't have Klay Thompson, when you don't have Steph Curry, somebody is going to get those valuable playing minutes. And Jordan Poole has done just that. He has the experience now. And we've seen this with other teams. It's great to develop some depth during the regular season and get these guys prepared for the postseason because when it comes, they're battle tested and ready to be a big part of this lineup. So now the Warriors are just stronger. Great. Go be
Fantastic.
back. And now we're back in a bad mood. We all need Mexican pizzas to go around.